Hey everyone, welcome to episode 61. On today's episode, we're going to learn how to thread your Cobra Class 20-2 double needle flatbed sewing machine, and then we are also going to learn how to properly wind and load your bobbins into the machine. So let's take a look. Start by putting the thread on the thread stand and make sure that the thread comes off the spool freely. Insert the thread from the rear to the front on the thread stand guide hole. Start by passing the thread through the flat thread guide. Next, go through the top hole thread guide. Continue between the small tension discs and then proceed downward. Now go under the top pin, then counterclockwise between the second set of tension discs. You'll hear the thread click in. Proceeding down, go over the bottom pin and guide the thread through the bottom of the secondary tension device. By pulling upward, the thread will click in and a spring will add tension. Insert the thread into the large thread guide and then go around and into the small thread guide. Now up to the take-up lever, thread it from right to left using the top hole. The thread now travels downward through the large thread guide again, and then there are two small thread guides. As you continue down, there is a spring-loaded clip. Use the left side of the spring-loaded clip to guide the thread. Next, the thread needs to go through the needle bar, which has two small holes. Use the left hole, and finally, we have to thread the needle. The first needle you will thread is the left needle. You'll thread from right to left. Now let's repeat this process for the second needle with a few minor differences. Your second thread will go through the bottom hole thread guide and between the small tension discs and then proceed downward. The thread goes under the top pin, then clockwise between the second set of tension discs. You'll hear the thread click in. Proceeding to the left, go over the bottom pin and guide the thread through the bottom of the secondary tension device. There is a separate slot for the second thread. Pull upward until the thread clicks into the spring. Insert the thread into the large thread guide and then around into the smaller thread guide. Now up to the take-up lever, thread it from right to left using the bottom hole. The thread now travels downward through the large thread guide again and then through the two small thread guides. As you continue down, you will use the right side of the spring-loaded clip to guide the second thread. Next, the thread needs to go through the right hole on the needle bar. Finally, you will thread the right needle from left to right. All right, slide open both arm plates to access the two bobbin baskets, and let's wind up some bobbins. To wind up a bobbin, put your bobbin thread cone on the thread stand and make sure that the thread comes off the cone freely. Insert the thread through the thread stand guide hole from back to front. On the bobbin winder, go through the thread guide hole and then pull the thread in between the tension discs. It goes around and then the thread comes back out of the guide hole. On your U-style bobbin, the thread goes through one of the holes from inside to outside and then load the bobbin onto the winder. Push the winder lever forward to engage the wheel with the rubber belt. Before winding bobbins, don't forget to take out the thread out of the needle and then lift up the presser feet to avoid metal-on-metal contact. Hold the thread end and press the foot pedal to begin the winding process. You can trim the tail piece of the thread after the bobbin has wound up for a bit, then continue winding the bobbin until it stops automatically. It is very important that the thread comes off the bobbin counterclockwise. Lift up the arm on the hook and load the bobbin inside. Flip down the arm and the thread will slide along the edge and then through a tiny slot. Once through the slot, pull the thread all the way to the left. The thread goes around the hook basket and then to the right. The thread will slide under the arm and should be in a designated slot hole. Repeat this exact process with the second bobbin. The thread should also come off the second bobbin counterclockwise. Rotate the hand wheel and the needles with the top thread will begin the sewing process and bring the bobbin thread up through the feed dog. Once all 4 threads are positioned correctly, close both arm plates and your machine is ready to sew. All right, that's it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on next week's episode. Take care.